Okay, my name is Tammy, and I am doing my video review over parts of Chapter 8, the part where it was school choice plans. I found this interesting because I didn't even know that they existed. The first part, or the first, I'm going to talk about the different types of the school choice plans. The first one is public school choice, and that's parents of students choose any public school in the district or state. Because, like in my area, kids have to go to the school that they are zoned for. They don't really have a choice on which one they go to. But the public school choice lets you. Uh, there's several different types of public school choice plans. The first one is open enrollment, is where you go to the school of choice and you just enroll. The second one is magnet schools, and they're designed to attract students and integrate schools with some restrictions to the balance of enrollment. They can't be overly populated when other schools aren't. Then there's alternative schools. Uh, I don't really know why you would pick an alternative school, because if it's anything like the ones in my area, alternative schools are the schools that students get sent to when they get in trouble. And then public charter schools. These are public schools, but they do not have the state and local government involved as much. Okay, then there's the public private choice. Parents of students choose between public or private schools, with the tuition of private school being paid for by the government or privately issued vouchers. That means that someone with money wants to support a child that wants to go to school there, so they pay it with that voucher. Traditionally, students have the choice without government support, but government support of private school choices provides opportunity for children from low-income families to attend private schools. Uh, then there's the failing school choice. Under the No Child Left Behind, parents of students in schools not making adequate yearly progress can choose another school for their child to attend in that district that is passing the yearly um, progress. Uh, then there the low-income private school vouchers. Taxpayers' dollars are used to pay for all or part of the tuition for the private school costs. Uh, for those students from low-income families to attend private schools, so that they have the opportunity to have a private education just like other kids that come from well-to-do families do. Next, we're going to talk about the vouchers. Parents give the vouchers to the school that they enroll their children in or child, and then the school in turn would turn over the vouchers to the government, and the government would reimburse them for the tuition that they require. Uh, these vouchers are a method for distributing tax dollars to schools. That way that the children are going to the school of their choice, and the school is getting support from the government. They thought that if parents could choose schools, then schools would be faced to improve to compete with other schools for finances. They figured that if they wanted their schools to be picked and to receive the vouchers from parents, that the schools would compete with each other to have a better education program, better teachers, uh, better programs, so that the parents would choose their schools. So they thought that these vouchers would help do that. Then there's school choice and religion. Should the government pay for private religious education? There was a lot of controversy over this, that people didn't think, they thought that it was unconstitutional for religious schools to be getting these vouchers that was giving them money from the government. That means that the government was supporting their religion. Uh, there was Zellman versus Simon Harris. They wanted to know if using the government-funded vouchers by students to attend schools with the religious affiliation, they were really concerned that the government was supporting the religious institution. Then was this a violation of the establishment clause of the First Amendment? saying where the government wasn't supposed to have any put their religion on anyone, and people were concerned that by these vouchers being paid by the government, that meant the government was supporting the religious affiliations with the vouchers. Uh, then decisions was the Mueller versus Allen. Since the government gave you deductions in your taxes to any taxpayer for expenses of tuition, textbooks, transportation, and this was available to all taxpayers, that it wasn't a violation, because it was just like when you file your taxes and you got money for the like tuition that you paid in school, or your textbooks, or the transportation to get you there. They said that as long as it was this that or that, then it wasn't a violation, because every taxpayer was able to get that deduction. Then there's a Lemon versus Kurzman. It's a three-part test to see if the to determine if the government programs benefited it religiously, or if it was constitutional. The first part of it was must have a secular purpose. It must be education. It must not inhibit or advance religion, and it must not cause excessive entanglement of government and religion. That's the three-part test that they put through to make sure that it's not uh, unconstitutional. Uh, Next, we have the National Public School Choice Plan. The requirements are if it's an unsafe school, that means that children in unsafe situations are allowed to transfer to another school in their district, or out of their districts if there's not one available. When school is determined to be persistently dangerous, like times firearms have been brought to school, or the amount of fights that break out in the hallway, and so forth, stuff like that, that when they feel like it's a dangerous school. Then, sorry, when a student becomes the victim of a violent crime at school, they can transfer out of the school. Then there's the failing school. This one's kind of a hard thing to go with, because it's the government. They one that does not make adequate yearly progress, then you can transfer out of that school. It says that each student in that school has to meet or exceed statewide annual objectives, that they can't be below, and it has to be 95% of the students enrolled must participate in that assessment. 95% of the kids in the school have to take the test. They have to be there. And if 95% of them don't pass, then, if they don't meet the yearly progress, then the school is considered a failing school. If a school fails 2 years in a row, then they have to provide a supplemental education services, such as tutoring or technology support. They have to be able to provide extra services so that the grades of the children can go up. Any school offered as a choice option for a failing school, it has to have a higher academic performance than the school of origin. It has to have passed in order for the kids to be able to go to that school. Students may not transfer to any schools that have been identified as for improvement, that they need to get their scores better, that they, if they've been identified for corrective actions, like they have to correct stuff that they've done in the past in order to pass for the yearly progress. And if they're persistently dangerous, you can't transfer to that school. And for planning restructuring, if they're planning a big changeover or anything, you can't transfer that to school either. It can include public charter schools, within boundaries of the local education authorities. I found this section of the chapter really interesting because I didn't know it existed. Because I myself just went through transferring my son to another school because some parents were threatening him because he was dating their daughter. So it's nice to know that that's out there to help the kids, and it's nice to know that you have more options than what you're actually shown. Thank you.